Hello and welcome everybody to my second video to Union Arena. This time I will be featuring the green Bleach decks. On this side, I will be playing the green Uno Hana and the green Yamamoto, um, which is at the moment the third strongest Bleach deck, I believe, if not like the second strongest. And the main mission of this deck is to bring out the Unohana as soon as possible, because when Blade ability allows you to look at the top 4 cards and reveal one 13 card guard squad, and you can play it the same turn without resting an action point. This is strong because you want to flood your board as much as possible, because the Yamamoto has a when Blade ability. Choose any number of 13 guard squads and move them from the energy line to the front line. And whenever he attacks, all other 13 guard squads affinity cards on your field gain plus 2000 battle points, which is like super strong. So yeah, the main mission is to bring her out, flood the board, and finish the enemy off with this one. On the other side, I will also be playing a green Bleach deck, but this time. So this deck is also featuring the Unohana, simply because it's such a strong green card at the moment. Because she can bring out a lot of like other cards with her when played ability. And the other raid card that I have in this deck is the Hitsugaya, which is like not as strong as the Yamamoto, but he's like a fan favorite, and he can actually do some stuff together with the Unohana. And as like a finisher, I also brought the Kenpachi, which is like not a raid card, but basically when he is played, he can basically KO at least like one character on the front line, on the enemy front line. He also has impact, and his downgrade is that he doesn't have energy, so he can only be played on the front line. Okay, so I will be playing with 5 life cards again, simply because this is like a showcase against myself. Okay, let's start the game. Okay, I'm gonna shuffle the deck and draw 7 cards. Again, this is the Yamamoto and Unohana deck. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. And so we want to get like the 0 cost Unohana and possibly the 1 cost Yamamoto, which we didn't get, but we got like the KO spell for Yamamoto, which is pretty good, and we're gonna keep this hand, I think. We also got like the Unohana on our hand, so we just need to reach the 6 energy requirement, which is slightly difficult with this deck, but we have like cards like the Sajin Komamura, which has like 2 energy and like also a strong effect in case we need to move him to the front line. Okay, let's begin the first turn. We'll get 1 action point, and I can only do one thing. I will use this action point to play the Unohana in the energy line. I just noticed that I should have probably mulliganed this hand, because I only have 1 energy and I don't have another 1 energy cost, so we kind of hope to draw 1 the next turn. So let's see how that goes. I'm gonna pass my turn to the Hitsugaya. So for firstly, we're gonna shuffle the deck and then draw 7 cards. So we draw 7 cards. Don't be confused, this one is the hand of the Yamamoto deck. I just cannot fix it at the moment, so I kind of have to display it like this. It's the first turn, so we're gonna get 2 action points. And we also draw one of these 0 cost Unohana, which is pretty good. Let's see if we have any other cards that we can play. Oh yeah, we have one 0 cost Hitsugaya, so we're gonna definitely keep this hand, and we also don't need to do an extra draw. So we begin our turn, draw 1, and we get another Unohana, which is pretty good because her on blade ability is just draw a card, and she can be used for a raid for the like big Unohana card. So first, for our first action point, we're gonna play the Hitsugaya, in the energy line. And for the second energy point, we're gonna play the 0 cost Unohana. Now we have 2 energy, and next turn we can draw 1 card with this card. Okay, I'm gonna pass over to the Yamamoto. Okay, I'm gonna draw one card. And we didn't get a 1-star or 0 cost, which means that we probably need to do an extra draw. Yeah, we have to do that. And we got another 0 cost. Active main, switch to a thing. Okay, this card is pretty good. So we need this card in our energy line because we need to have a lot of energy to play like the big boys later on. So the only thing we can do this turn is flip one action point and play the Ukitake. So next turn we could like sacrifice him for 3 energy to gain 3 energy, so we can play the Sajin with like 2 energy generation, which is pretty good. And we could also play the Kyoraku, the Shunshui, which also has like 2 energy generation. So since we have no one on the front line, we cannot attack, so we're gonna pass our turn over to the Hitsugaya. So I will get also 2 and I will also get 2 action points. I will also get 2 action points open now. I'm gonna draw a card. We have 2 energy in the energy line. And we drew Bankai, which is pretty good since we have another one. So what we're gonna do this turn is try to build our board a little bit. So our first action point, we're gonna play one of the Unohana. And her when played ability is draw a card, which is pretty strong because we don't have to spend 1 action point to draw like an additional card. So I can draw another card, which is a Shunshui. It's pretty good. Then for our second action point, we're gonna use the Bankai since we have 3 energy now. And the Bankai basically allows us to set 2 of our action points back to active, which is pretty strong, especially early on. So we will get 2 back to active. So what we're gonna do is use one of them. We're gonna bring another Unohana out, draw 1 card. Okay. And for the last one, we're gonna play the Shunshui. So this deck only needs 6 energy generation because our biggest card is the Unohana and we currently have 4. So if I play this now, we would have 5. It is gonna sideline this card and move him to the energy line and pass over to the Yamato. Okay, so this will be our first 3 action point turn. We're gonna draw 1 card and we draw the Yamato. So we have a pretty good combo set up. We just need to get the required energy. We're not gonna spend 1 action point this turn to draw an extra card because I can just sacrifice him to get the big bodies out. And we need as many action points as possible, I think, this turn. So we are not moving anyone to the front line. We're gonna spend 1 action point. Oh, sorry. We're gonna activate his active main ability, switch to resting, and he gets another energy generation this turn until the end of the turn, and after this I need to sideline this character. So we have a total of 3 energy now, which allows me to use 1 action point and to play one of the I'm just gonna play it as active. One of the Kumamura, which has 2 energy generation. I'm gonna use another action point to play the Shunshui, which has also 2 energy generation. So now we have 6 energy in total, which means, right? Oh no, we have more than 6. We have 7, but it doesn't matter. We have 7 energy in total, which means we can use our last action point to actually perform a raid this turn. So we're gonna perform a raid on this Unohana and move her to the front line. Oops. Come on. Move her to the front line. Then we're gonna activate her when played ability. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 character card with 13 core guard squads and 4 or less required energy. Search for, and we can take any of these cards, which I'm sure. I'm gonna take the Yamato and put it to my hand, right? Yeah. Yamamoto, sorry. So we just put the remaining 3 cards at the bottom of our deck, and now we can reduce the AP cost of the next character with 4 or less energy that I use this hunt by 1. So I don't need to play 1 action point to play another card. And I think I will play the Yamamoto, simply because we could be able to do the raid with him next turn. But since at the end of the turn this card gets sidelined, we don't have the required energy at the moment. That's okay. Okay, we're gonna move to the battle phase and we're gonna attack with the Unohana. Since there's no characters on the enemy front line, he has to take a hit. And he gets an active trigger, which doesn't matter because he doesn't have anyone on the front line. Okay, gonna end my turn, set everyone to active, and this character gets sidelined. And I'm gonna pass over to the Hitsugaya side. So my opponent has a really strong body on board and his like main engine, which means that I kind of need to step on the gas a little bit. So we will get 3 action points and we will draw 1 card. We also have an Unohana which we want to play this turn if possible. We currently have 5 energy generation, which means we need another 2. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we will move this Unohana to the front line. Simply because she has 2000 battle power and we need another space for this card. So we have enough energy to perform a raid this turn. So we're gonna spend 1 action point, we're gonna play him. If there's a yellow or purple card on your field, okay. Yeah, we play a mono green deck, so this effect doesn't really matter. Now, this guy's rusted. Now I have 6 total energy, which means for the next action point, I can raid my Unohana, bring it to the front line, and also activate the Event Blade ability. Look at the top 4 cards of this deck, and we can add any 4 energy cost or lower. So the good thing about this deck is that you can actually search for the Kenpachi and reduce his action point cost by 1, which is pretty strong. And you could also search for the Hitsugaya, because he's also a 4 energy, and reduce his action cost to 0. So you could perform a Hitsugaya raid for 0 energy cost this turn. Since we don't get an Hitsugaya here, I will just take the Kenpachi to my hand. And we need to put the other 3 cards. We need to put the remaining cards at the bottom of our deck. So this is the Kenpachi, good. So since her ability says that the next reduce the AP cost of the next character card with 4 less required energy by 1 this turn, we can play the Kenpachi this turn too for 1 energy, which is we're gonna do. We're gonna play him at the front line because we cannot play this character in the energy line. His when played ability says choose up to 1 character with 2000 or less battle points on your opponent's front line and sideline. If 6 or more 13 court guard squads affinity cards are on your field, 4000 or less battle point instead. We have currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have exactly 6. No, if 6 or more order, so we would need 7, which means I couldn't KO the Unohana this turn, which would be like really strong combo. But nonetheless, I'm gonna move to the attack phase and we're gonna swing with the Unohana, 4000 battle points. So I will let this attack just hit because I don't want to sacrifice my Unohana, because I want to build like a strong board. And we're gonna get a color trigger. Play 1 green card, play 1 green character card with 2 or less required energy and 1 AP cost from your hand and set it to active on your field. Which is pretty good because we're gonna play this one to the front line, right? Active on your field. Well, whatever, I'm gonna play it on the front line, and her when blade ability activates, so I can draw 1 card here. Okay, we could attack with this character too, but it would just get blocked by this Unohana and we wouldn't do like any damage to the enemy, so we're just gonna pass our turn and set everyone to active. Okay, everyone's active. Alright. It's the turn of the green Yamamoto. We're gonna draw one card and we have a lot of Bankais on our hand and I think we already used one. Which means we will not have a final trigger in our life, which is pretty bad. The first thing that I'm gonna have to do is gonna spend one action point to draw an additional card. Okay, we got a 0 cost Matsumoto, which is pretty good. Unfortunately, we don't have 7 energy to play him this turn, because even if I play the Rangiku, we will only have 6 energy in total. So we have 2 of the Tenshi Kaijin on our hand, and we have a Yamamoto on the board, which means for 2 action points, or with 1 action point, we're gonna use one of these, and we can KO a 5000 or less battle point character, right? Sideline it. Yeah, sideline it. So we're gonna KO the Kenpachi, since this Kenpachi has impact. And now we're gonna flip our next action point. We're gonna activate one Bankai, flip 2 of our action points back to open, and we're gonna use the second Tenshin Kaijin. In hindsight, I could have moved him to the front line, but whatever. To KO the Unohana. So, with just a few cards, we already pretty much cleared the enemy board, which is kind of insane. But yeah, you just need to draw like these KO cards, and there's only like 4 in total of these, so we don't have like many of these left. For our last action point, we're just gonna play the Rangiku in the energy line, simply because using another Bankai wouldn't do anything since we cannot play the Yamamoto this turn, and we're gonna move to the attack phase. Now, interestingly, this character has 2000 battle points, and this character has 2000 battle points. So we're gonna attack with her first, which means that the enemy could potentially block with her to avoid taking 1 damage. So I'm getting attacked by this Unohana, and I'm going to sacrifice my card because normally you don't attack with these 2000 battle point characters simply because the enemy usually has like a big character on board. And if I check my hand, I have 2 Bankais on my hand, but I have no way to deal with this Yamamoto at the moment, so I will just try to avoid to take damage as much as possible. So I'm gonna block this card. Alright, next I will attack with the Unohana, and since there's no one on the enemy front line, it will hit for 1 damage. And we will get a draw trigger, which is kind of nice. So the enemy got a draw. Okay, I'm gonna end my turn. Set everyone back to active. And pass it to the Hitsugaya. Alright, the Hitsugaya will also get 3 action points open and draw us a card. We actually draw the sideline card for the Hitsugaya, which is pretty good because we can now deal with the Unohana without needing to draw an extra card. But since we have 2 Bankais on our hand, I'm gonna use 1 action point to draw another card. Which is okay. We get another 2 energy generation. Since for most cards we need like a maximum of 6 energy in this deck, so 2 of the 2 energy generation cards would be enough, and this card also has like double damage. We will move this one to the front line this turn. So for our action, for our first action point, we're just gonna play this card again for 3 energy, and we will have like our energy generation back to 5 energy. Next we're gonna spend one of the action points. We're gonna play 1 Bankai, which allows us to set 2 of our action points back to active. We will use one of them to play 1 Hitsugaya, And for our last action point, we then gonna play the Hitsugaya KO spell to deal with this Unohana and KO it. Oops. And put it to the sideline. We spent all of our action points, so we're gonna move to the battle phase. We're gonna attack with the double damage Shunshui. So since he's attacking me with double damage, I have to block this card, otherwise I would be too low on life for the next turns. So I'm just gonna sacrifice this Unohana to block this attack. Alright, our attack didn't get through, but that doesn't matter. We're gonna set him back to active and we're gonna pass our turn over. Alright, we're gonna get 3 action points ready and we're gonna draw a card, which is another Unohana. We have a total of 6 energy on the board, but we don't have an Unohana to raid, which means that we would need to play this card as rested. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna spend 1 action point and draw an additional card. And we draw the Unohana, which is pretty good because that means we can perform a raid this turn. Since I have to sacrifice one of the characters anyway, I will move the Rangiku to the front line, simply because she has stabs, which means she can come back to the energy line at any time. Then for one action point, we're gonna play the Unohana in the energy line, and her ability says that we can draw another card. And we draw another Unohana. It wouldn't be wise to use the Bankai this turn because all we could do is play another Unohana, so we're gonna use our last action point to raid this card, put it as to active and move it to the front line. So her when blade ability activates again, which means I can look at the top 4 cards and put any 13 chord squad with 4 or less energy into my hand. And I'm gonna take the Ukitake because he allows me to play the Yamamoto next turn. Okay, we're gonna put the rest of the cards at the bottom of the deck. And we will move to the attack phase. So first we're gonna attack with our big body 4k Unohana. He can decide if he wants to block this or not. Okay, my enemy is hitting me with the 4k. I could block this and sacrifice this card, but since he has another 2k on board and this one has 2.5k, I'm just gonna use this card to block the lower card so it doesn't get KO'd. So I'm gonna take 1 damage. Ooh, it's one of the Hitsugaya. It's a raid trigger. Add this card to your hand, or if you have the required energy, perform a raid with it. I have 6 energies, so I will perform the raid on it. I'm gonna move it to this card and move it to the front line. So we're gonna activate his Windblade ability. We're gonna freeze her until my opponent's next attack phase, and we're gonna freeze all of these energy lines. Oh no, we can't. So we will freeze her to our opponent's next attack phase. Okay, this is a really annoying trigger to happen. What it is. I cannot attack with this character. I mean, I could attack with this character, but he would just get blocked by either the Hitsugaya or the Kyoraku, so I will just pass my turn. Oh, she will not become active until the end of my next attack phase, which means I cannot use her as a block. Okay, I'm gonna pass over and she will not become active. Okay, that was a pretty good trigger on this side. We're gonna draw 1 card. And we got another Hitsugaya. Oof, that's pretty good. That's actually very good. So what we're gonna do, we're not gonna spend an extra turn because I think with him I can actually finish my opponent this turn. Just for extra care, we're gonna spend another action point to draw an additional card. But I'm pretty sure with him that we can win this turn. So we have 5 energy in total. We will use one of them. We're gonna play another Hitsugaya, and then we're gonna use the last one to perform a raid. Move him to the front line and activate his Wind Blade ability. We're gonna rest this character and freeze her until my opponent's next attack phase, and then we're gonna move to the battle phase. First, we're gonna attack with our double damage Kyoraku. Since our opponent has 2 resting characters, he cannot block and has to take the double damage. Well, if I don't get a good trigger in these last 4 life cards, I'm pretty sure that I lose this turn. So we're gonna take the double damage first. Gonna flip it over, get this card to your hand. Then the second hit, flip it over. Final trigger. Oh, that's pretty bad. That should have been our last trigger. So this doesn't do anything and we'll go get sidelined. So our double attack actually hit. Our opponent has 2 life left. So if both of these attacks go through this turn, I mean, it means that I win this game, which is pretty surprising because I thought that the Yamamoto would actually win. But let's see if he has like any bad trigger. So we're gonna attack with the Hitsugaya. Our opponent cannot block because both these characters are frozen. So he's gonna hit for 1 damage, and it's not a trigger. It's not a trigger. Okay, so there's 1 life left, so I'm gonna attack with him. I think only the final trigger could save him now, right? Whatever, I'm gonna attack with him and check if he has like the final trigger here. Oh, no. It's a Raid Unohana, which wouldn't save him. So Hitsugaya actually won this game. Wow. Kind of surprised on that. So I guess this card is pretty strong because you can like freeze a character in both turns, which is like kind of unexpected in this game, I think. I hope you enjoyed this video. The next thing that I'm gonna showcase is probably Hunter x Hunter decks, because Bleach just has like basically like 4 decks that are pretty good, while on Hunter x Hunter side you have like 6 different decks that you can play. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, just let me know in the comments and tell me how I can improve. See you next time.